Let's get real. Most people will never openly tell you that they don't like you. Instead, they hide behind fake smiles, empty compliments, and forced politeness. Buddha taught that attachment to illusion creates suffering. If we fail to recognize the truth, we waste our time and energy on people who do not truly see us. I've been there too, thinking someone was a friend, only to later realize they were secretly hoping for my failure. It's harsh but necessary to acknowledge. If you don't recognize the signs, you risk surrounding yourself with people who will never truly understand or respect you. So let's strip away the illusion and talk about the signs that someone secretly harbors negativity toward you. The truth may be uncomfortable, but as Buddha said, it is better to face reality than live in delusion. 1. They always joke about your flaws. We all know that one person who loves to joke, especially when the joke is at your expense. They highlight your quirks, your imperfections, your mistakes, all while laughing and saying, "I'm just messing with you." But let's be honest, words have power. Buddha taught us that our words shape our reality. When someone constantly points out your flaws, even in humor, they are planting seeds of doubt within you. Their words chip away at your confidence, little by little. I once had someone in my life who always had a comment about me. How I dressed, how I spoke, even my ambitions. First I laughed along. But over time I noticed something. Their jokes were never about my strengths, only my perceived weaknesses. And slowly I started second-guessing myself. Here's the truth. People who consistently joke about your flaws are not doing it out of affection. They are testing your boundaries, seeing how much disrespect you will tolerate. It's a subtle form of manipulation, a way to assert control while keeping you in self-doubt. But here's the shift in perspective. Buddha taught that we do not have to accept the suffering others offer us. A true friend does not need to put you down to feel better about themselves. They uplift you, offering kindness and honesty without disguised insults. Ignoring disrespect, even in the form of jokes, is dangerous. Many people tolerate these comments just to keep the peace. But Buddha taught that suffering grows when we remain passive in the face of harm. The more you allow, the further they will push, until eventually, you find yourself questioning your own worth. I learned this lesson the hard way. By laughing along, I gave them permission to continue. But the moment I stopped playing along, the moment I set boundaries, everything changed. Not only did they stop, but I started seeing myself differently. I reclaimed my power. So here's my advice. The next time someone makes a joke at your expense, pause. Ask yourself, is this truly harmless? Or is there something deeper at play? If it feels wrong, trust your intuition. Set your boundary. Speak your truth. Yes, it may be uncomfortable. Yes, it may even cost a friendship. But your self-respect is always worth more than someone's need to make you small. 2. They give compliments that feel like insults. We've all been there. Someone gives you a compliment, but instead of feeling uplifted, you feel uneasy. It's the kind of comment that makes you pause and think, was that really a compliment or was that an insult? These backhanded compliments are not meant to encourage you. They are meant to keep you questioning yourself. I remember a time when I had worked hard on a project I was truly proud of. After dedicating countless hours, I finally shared it with a group of colleagues. One of them smiled and said, "Wow, this is actually pretty good. For someone like you." First I smiled back. But later those last words echoed in my mind. For someone like you. And here's the reality. These compliments are never about lifting you up. They are subtle reminders that in their eyes, you will never truly measure up. They are meant to reinforce limitations, not celebrate growth. But here's the truth. People who give backhanded compliments are often insecure themselves. Buddha taught that those who diminish others are battling their own suffering. They see your potential, your strength, and it threatens them. So they disguise their fear with seemingly harmless words, hoping to keep you from rising too high. But here's what you must remember. You do not have to accept their disguised hostility. You have the power to reject it. The next time someone gives you a compliment that feels more like an insult, don't let it slide. Call it out. Ask them directly. What do you mean by that? Watch as they suddenly become uncomfortable, because now they must face the hidden intent behind their words. Your worth is not up for debate. You are not obligated to accept anyone's veiled negativity. If someone's words leave you questioning yourself, it's time to question their intentions instead. 3. They subtly exclude you from plans. Sometimes the most painful actions are not words but silence. It's realizing that your so-called friends accidentally forgot to invite you. It's seeing pictures of an event you would have loved to attend, only to realize no one even mentioned it to you. I remember checking my phone one weekend and seeing pictures of a group of friends at a gathering I would have loved to be part of. The worst part, not a single one of them had mentioned it beforehand. And when I casually brought it up later, they were full of excuses. Oh, we thought you were busy, or it was last minute. But deep down I knew the truth. Busy, or it was such a last-minute plan, but deep down I knew the truth. If they truly wanted me there, they would have made sure I knew about it. And here's where the reality hits. This kind of exclusion isn't just an oversight, it's intentional. It's a way of sending a message without words. They don't want you there, but they lack the courage to say it outright. Instead, they hope you'll quietly disappear from the group, avoiding any confrontation. It's a passive-aggressive move, a silent rejection, and yet, it's something many people experience. Buddha taught that suffering comes not from the actions of others, but from our attachment to their approval. But here's the truth. If you keep accepting these excuses, you're allowing them to continue treating you this way. You're surrendering your power, letting them dictate your place in their lives instead of taking control of your own path. Buddha said, you yourself, as much as anybody in the entire universe, deserve your love and affection. I had to learn this through experience. For a long time I stayed silent, hoping things would change, that next time they'd remember me. But in doing so, I was allowing myself to be treated as an afterthought. So I made a decision. I stopped pretending I didn't notice. I started addressing it directly. I'd ask, hey, I saw you guys went out last weekend. Why wasn't I invited? It was uncomfortable, created tension, but it also forced people to confront their actions. And suddenly the dynamic shifted. Some people got defensive, others tried to justify it. But what became clear was this: I was no longer going to passively accept exclusion. Buddha taught that truth is often met with resistance, but only through truth can we find liberation. Here's the deeper realization: if someone values you, they will include you. Plans are never too last minute for people who truly care. If they consistently leave you out, it's not forgetfulness. It's a reflection of how they see you in their life. And that's something you must acknowledge. Buddha reminds us that clinging to people who do not uplift our spirit only brings suffering. True friendship isn't something you have to chase. It's freely given. If you find yourself constantly left out, don't ignore it. Address it. Seek the truth, even when it's painful. Because it's better to know where you truly stand than to keep wondering why you were left out again. And remember this: You are not an option, you are not a backup plan. Your presence is valuable, and those who truly see your worth will never make you question it. 4. They're busy only when it comes to you. We've all heard it before. I'm so busy these days, sorry, I can't hang out. It's an excuse we've all given and received. After all, everyone is busy. But what happens when you start seeing a pattern? They always have time for others, always posting about outings, and always catching up with mutual friends. Yet when it comes to you, they're suddenly overwhelmed with responsibilities. The truth is hard to hear. They aren't too busy. They're just too busy for you. Buddha taught that attachment to illusion is what blinds us to reality. I, too, have been in this situation. Reaching out to an old friend, trying to reconnect, only to be met with endless excuses. I'm swamped at work. Maybe next week. Things are just hectic right now. But then I'd see them spending time with others, making time for everything. Except me. It took me longer than I'd like to admit to understand the message they were sending me. And it was this: I was no longer a priority in their life. We are conditioned to accept busy as a reasonable excuse. But let's be honest, people make time for who and what they care about. If they are always busy when it comes to you, it's not about their schedule, it's about their priorities. And that's a difficult truth to face. Buddha taught that when we cling to a relationship that has already faded, we prolong our own suffering. The reality is that busy is often just a polite way of saying, I don't want to invest in this relationship anymore. Instead of telling you directly, they let their actions do the talking. They keep you at a distance without ever fully letting you go. It's a passive way of avoiding confrontation while ensuring you remain an option in case they ever need you. I've been on both sides of this. I've been the person making excuses and avoiding difficult conversations. And I've also been the one waiting, hoping someone would finally make time. But through both experiences, I learned a vital lesson. Honesty, no matter how uncomfortable, is always better than false hope. Buddha said, 3 things cannot be long hidden: the sun, the moon, and the truth. When I finally confronted my friend about always being too busy, the conversation was awkward, but it gave me the clarity I needed to move forward. And here's the deep lesson. Your time is precious. Your energy is sacred. Do not waste it on those who cannot find time for you. If someone is always too busy, it's time to reevaluate the relationship. You deserve people who choose you, who value your presence, and who don't treat you as an afterthought. 5. They avoid physical contact like the plague. Let's talk about something unspoken yet powerful: body language. Physical contact isn't just about romance. It's about connection. A handshake, a pat on the back, a friendly hug. These small gestures express warmth and trust. So what does it mean when someone goes out of their way to avoid even the most casual touch? Buddha taught that our physical presence reflects the state of our mind. Distance is often a sign of disconnection. I once had a colleague who seemed to shrink away every time I reached out for a handshake. First, I thought it was just their personality. But then I noticed it wasn't everyone. They were warm, open, and physically at ease with others. But with me, they withdrew. And that's when I realized it wasn't about a general dislike of physical contact. It was about creating distance specifically with me. And here's the difficult truth. Physical contact is a natural human interaction. When someone avoids it selectively, they're sending a message. Sure, some people aren't touchy-feely, and that's okay. But when they're fine hugging others, yet stiffen around you, it's a clear sign that something is off. They might not say it with words, but their body is speaking loud and clear. And we've all been on both sides of this. Maybe you've instinctively pulled back from someone whose presence made you uncomfortable. Or maybe you felt the sting of someone withdrawing from you. It's awkward, it's unspoken, but it's real. Buddha taught that when we feel resistance, instead of forcing things, we must observe, reflect, and accept reality for what it is. I learned to stop ignoring these cues. There were times I convinced myself that someone's avoidance of closeness was just how they were. But deep down I knew better. When I finally acknowledged it, it led to honest conversations. Some painful, some liberating. In some cases, it ended relationships. But in all cases, it freed me from wondering what went wrong. Buddha said, let go or be dragged. So here's the deep message. Don't ignore the signs. When people show you their truth, believe it. The sooner you do, the sooner you can surround yourself with those who truly value your presence. Avoids physical contact with you. It's more than just a preference. It's a statement about their level of comfort and connection with you. If you notice this pattern, don't ignore it. Buddha taught that everything is energy. When someone resists closeness, it is often a reflection of the emotional distance between you. Addressing it might lead to a deeper understanding, or it might reveal that the relationship isn't as strong as you thought. Either way, it is better to face the truth than to live in denial. And remember, you deserve relationships where physical contact isn't something to be avoided, but something that happens naturally and comfortably. Whether it's a friendly hug, a handshake, or just sitting close without feeling awkward, these small gestures build trust and connection. If someone consistently avoids them, it's a sign that something is off. Buddha taught that discomfort is a messenger. When something feels misaligned, it is a call to seek clarity. Don't be afraid to ask the tough questions, and if necessary, make the tough decisions. Life is too short to surround yourself with people who keep you at a distance, both literally and emotionally. 6. They disappear when you need support. Let's get real. Nothing reveals the true nature of a relationship like a crisis. When times get tough, you find out who your real friends are. So what does it say about someone when they vanish the moment you need them most? It's not just a sign of flakiness. It's a neon warning that they are not as invested in you as you thought. And let's be honest, when someone pulls a disappearing act during your darkest moments, it's not just hurtful, it's a betrayal. I learned this the hard way during a particularly rough time in my life. I was dealing with something that shook me to my core. Naturally, I turned to the people I considered close friends, expecting some level of support, even just a simple text or call. But guess what? Silence. The people I thought would be there suddenly had every excuse in the book. I'm so swamped at work. Sorry, I'm just really busy right now. I'll check in later. Spoiler alert, they never did. Here's where it gets controversial. People love to say they'll always be there for you. But when push comes to shove, many of them are only around for the good times. They'll party with you, laugh with you, and celebrate your successes. But the moment life gets hard, they disappear. Buddha warned against attachment to temporary pleasures. True connection is measured in presence, not convenience. The truth is, that support isn't about convenience. It's about being there when it's difficult, when it's uncomfortable, when it requires effort. The people who disappear when you need them most aren't just being inconsiderate. They are showing you exactly where you stand in their lives. Without words, they are saying, your struggles are not my priority. I remember feeling absolutely gutted when I realized that the people I had supported through breakups, family issues, and career struggles couldn't be bothered to return the favor. It was a painful wake-up call, but it was also a lesson I needed to learn. Not everyone who smiles at you is truly in your corner. Here's the deeper message. Support is the foundation of any meaningful relationship. It's easy to be around when things are going well, but the real test of a relationship is how people respond when things fall apart. If someone disappears the moment you need them, they're not just failing you, they were never really there in the first place. But don't let their absence make you bitter. Let it make you better. Use it as a filter to remove those who do not truly care. The ones who check in, who show up, even when it's inconvenient. Those are the people who matter. Those are the relationships to cherish. Life is too short to invest in fair-weather friends. Surround yourself with those who stand by you in the storm, not just bask in the sunshine. Buddha taught that we must detach from those who drain us and instead seek those who nourish our souls. And as for those who disappear, let them go. They have already shown you who they are. 7. They gossip about you behind your back. Gossip is the poison that spreads faster than wildfire, destroying trust and relationships in an instant. The thing about gossip is that it is never as innocent as people claim. When someone you consider a friend talks behind your back, they are not just sharing a harmless story. They are actively sabotaging your trust, your reputation, and your relationship. And let's be real. When someone gossips about you, it's a clear sign that they do not respect you, no matter how friendly they act to your face. I've been the subject of gossip before, and let me tell you, it is one of the most gut-wrenching experiences. There was a time when I confided in someone I thought was a close friend about a personal issue. I needed to vent, to lighten the emotional weight I was carrying, and I trusted them to keep it between us. But within days, details of that conversation started circulating. Twisted, exaggerated, and no longer mine to control. Here's the harsh reality. People who gossip about you aren't just venting or sharing concerns. They are playing a power game. Gossip is a way for them to elevate themselves while putting you down, all without having to confront you directly. It is cowardly, manipulative, and toxic. Buddha taught that unwholesome speech is one of the greatest causes of suffering. Words have the power to heal, but they also have the power to destroy. And here's the truth. People who gossip about others to you will gossip about you to others. It's not a one-time betrayal. It's a pattern. I've seen it happen too many times. Someone who loves to spill the tea about everyone else suddenly goes silent when you walk into the room. Guess what? That means they are spilling yours when you're not around. Now, here's where it gets personal. I remember confronting the friend who betrayed my trust, expecting an apology or at least an explanation. Instead, they acted like it was no big deal, brushing it off as just a bit of harmless talk. But here's the thing. Gossip is never harmless. It's a betrayal, plain and simple. And it says far more about the person spreading it than the person it's about. Buddha taught that wise speech is a reflection of one's character. Those who speak ill of others are revealing their own lack of integrity. True friends protect your name when you're not around. They hold space for your vulnerabilities rather than weaponizing them for entertainment. So here's the deeper message. If you discover that someone has been gossiping about you, don't ignore it. Confront it. Stand up for yourself. And if they dismiss your feelings or continue to betray your trust, walk away. Buddha said, "Do not keep company with those who harm your peace. Let go of those who find joy in tearing others down. You deserve relationships built on trust, not whispers behind your back. Surround yourself with those who speak with honesty, integrity, and kindness. And as for the ones who gossip, let them talk. Their words do not define you. Only your actions do." Buddha taught that when you live with truth, Negativity cannot touch you. So stand firm, walk with wisdom, and let go of those who do not uplift your path.